Recently, I was questioned in New Bergen, New Jersey College, where they take interfaith meetings, and during that meeting, they have many religions to be discussed. There, they asked me regarding Sikh doctrine. As I am already taking seminars on Sikh doctrine to spread humanity, which is there in Gurbani, which we call Sikh doctrine, and it is mentioned there in the hidden messages. Before I start explaining Sikh doctrine, I have to clear few terms so that when I am frequently using them, we can understand the meaning of that. Like Sikhs, they call Sri Guru Granth Sahib as their holy book. They follow it as a guru, and whatsoever is written there is called Gurmat. The text itself is called Gurbani, and Gurbani is known as Gurmat, means whatsoever Guru said. But when it is followed, it is not followed in the shape of physical form as a guru, but as knowledge. Other than that, Gurbani means whatsoever Guru said, and is compiled in the holy book followed by Sikhs. This Sikh doctrine is not preaching to this whole world as a different cult. Rather, it is preaching humanity. There is no such verse which is explaining any communal difference or communal hatred. Rather, it is trying to help the world to teach them the humanity. Means Sikh doctrine is trying to tell this whole world all are son of God, which is called universal brotherhood. First of all, we have to understand what kind of God Sikh doctrine is trying to preach to this world. Sikh doctrine explains God as a universal God, which is not meant for particular group or particular religion or particular country or the people of particular race. So we have to understand the definition of God as per the Sikh doctrine. It states, the first verse, Ik Onkar, means God is one. Sat Nam, Sat Nam means truth is His name. And when we say truth is His name, that does not mean that God is male gender. It is just to refer that truth is God's name. Karta Purkh means God is creator and He is not sitting away from His creation. God is omnipresent. He is not sitting somewhere away from this universe. Nirpau. Pau means fear. So He is without fear. That means God has no fear. Nirvair. Nirvair means without any enmity. There is no such kind of personality who is against the God. So He is above than everybody, above than this creation, I mean above than all. So there is no enmity. Nirvair Akal Murat. Akal is made by two words, A and Kal. Kal means death. Akal means beyond death. His personality, God's personality, is beyond death. The hidden message is he never takes birth, because whosoever takes birth, he has to die. So he never takes birth, that's why he doesn't die. He is beyond death. Ajuni. Juni means the kinds of beings taking birth on this earth or in the universe. He is above than that. So he never comes in any kind of physical form. Swabhang. Swabhang means he is created by himself. No one has given birth to God. Even no one can make him. He is made by himself. Gur Prasad. Prasad means grace. God can only be achieved by true knowledge. That is called his grace. And this true knowledge comes through Guru. And Guru does not mean physical form. Guru means the true knowledge. Or we can say the universal truth, which is applicable everywhere, all the times, and forever, till this universe is there. This definition of God belongs to everybody. It does not pertain to Sikhs only. And it does not discriminate with anybody, because it is a universal truth. Now the second point comes, after God we have to understand how this universe was created. There are many kinds of theories in which it is mentioned that how this creation was made. But when we talk about God, Sikh doctrine says God is infinite. Once He is infinite, then no one can explain, because infinite means no one knows the start of it and no one knows the end of it. If anybody tries to explain the start and the end, that means there is boundary, and infinite means no boundaries. If there is no boundary of God's creation, then no one can explain then when this universe was made and how this universe was made. And there is one verse that Pita ka janam ke jane poot means son can never find out when father was born, how father was born. This verse explains itself that universe was created by God, but whosoever tries to explain, he is just like son, but he cannot explain how God made it. Because when God made it, then at that time, none of any being was there who can explain. So, infinite means God is infinite and His creation is infinite too. After His creation, we have to understand how God is omnipresent in the creation. Sikh doctrine believes that this universe has unique laws of nature. The fact that these laws are unchanging and apply universally. This means what? God never changes the laws, that one law is applicable in other country and that law is not applicable in another country. Means universally applicable. Universally applicable laws means unique. And this unique laws of nature itself called His omnipresence, means God is everywhere. Gurbani, the Sikh doctrine, does not define omnipresence as a physical God. That's why Gurbani, the Sikh doctrine, does not believe in picture or the photo or the idol or God in physical form, even not in the idols or particular place. That's why Sikh doctrine does not promote the worship of God to be done through these rituals or by particular form of God or by going to the particular place as a pilgrimage. Rather, unchanging laws show His omnipresence. In other words, God is not restricted to one religion or one group. The God we believe is not the God of the Sikhs only, but the God is universal, and this itself explains how God is omnipresent. There was one question that if God is omnipresent and He never takes birth and no one knows how this creation was made, then how we, the beings, or particularly the human beings, take birth? So the question arises, how we take birth? Sikh doctrine believes in the laws of nature, and science tries to find out the laws of nature. At the same time, science tries to explain the laws of nature. Human beings are bound to take birth as per God's unique law, and in that law we have seen, unless a sperm fertilizes an egg, birth cannot take place. In this way, the Sikh doctrine upholds science's explanation for the birth of human beings. And today, if we talk about cloning, cloning also fulfills the unique law of nature. Cloning itself does not go against the law of God. Wherever science does any experience, that is bound to be done under the law of nature. And that itself explains that scientists, they don't go against the God. Today, most of the religions or the philosophies have fear of science. But the Nobel Prize winner Pearl Esberg, after studying many religions, she came to this conclusion. After studying Sikh doctrine, she said, Sikh doctrine has no fear of science because it is full of logic, it is one with God, it is one with laws of nature, because the laws of the nature is the will of God. So, Sikh doctrine today matches, according to 21st century, it matches, it is fully equipped to go with the pace of the time because it is said in post-modern language. After we talk about birth, and we understand that Sikh doctrine says unless sperm fertilizes egg, that means no soul comes and no soul goes. There is notion that whenever somebody takes birth, after 3 or 4 months, God sends the soul. When Sikh doctrine says there is no such God who is sitting somewhere up in the sky, but God Himself is omnipresent in His creation, that means God is not sending the souls. According to laws of nature, which we call the medical science explains the laws of nature, the unique law, the sperm fertilizes an egg. Similarly, no soul question arises, and there is no such God in physical form sitting somewhere who is sending the soul. If God is not sending the soul, That means when the whole system is completed itself, we take birth. And at the same time, when no soul comes, no soul goes. Means this notion of soul is not taken as a soul, which we call so-called soul, belief in the people that when soul comes we take birth and when soul goes out and we die. Sikh doctrine uses the word soul but in a different manner, like conscience, like subconscious, or like will. But it does not accept soul as there is a notion that soul comes from somewhere. Like irony, if scientist tries to create a being by fertilizing egg through sperm, that means God is sending the soul through DHL or UPS or Federal Express? No. God has no idea, no communication system with the scientist that scientists should order to God that now we are going to do something and you are supposed to send us the soul. Human beings take birth as per the laws of nature. And since we have explained that there is no physical God, then there is no one to send the soul into the baby. The Sikh doctrine does not believe that birth is associated with souls. Obviously, the question starts, what happens after death? If no soul comes, then what happens after death? In general, the belief is that after death, soul goes back to the God, or some people they believe soul is roaming around somewhere in this universe, and then soul is waiting for two people to have sex and then let us go in and enter into the baby. But Sikh doctrine does not believe that a soul came into the body during birth. Obviously, no soul departs at death. Also, there was no soul that entered the body to begin with. In Gurbani, the Sikh doctrine, the term soul is mentioned in the form of subconscious or conscience only. That is why Sikh doctrine, the Gurbani, which we call Gurmat, explains that when the body physically perishes, that is not real death. People believe that when body perishes, death is there. But Gurbani explains, real death is when someone dies on the subconscious level and loses his conscience. This is the real death. So, Gurbani describes that when a person dies, that means he is not alert, which is called unaware. Not aware and not in a state of watchfulness. This is all on a metaphysical and intangible level. That means Gurbani does not believe death when this body perishes, or when we call simply when this body finishes. That is not the death of the human being. The real death is when he is not in senses, when he is not alert, when he is not in watchfulness, when he is not aware. Simply the question starts, if no soul comes in and no soul goes out, then what happens about salvation? There is belief or I should say majority of doctrines or theories, they explain that once the person dies, his soul goes somewhere into the hell or heaven, or some people believe it goes into the cycle of 84 million lives, or maybe 84 billion lives, but they think that this circle can be stopped, or this hell or heaven can be stopped if one goes back to the feet of God. Back to the feet of God means they are one with God, and after death is the salvation. Because Gurbani itself does not accept the death when the body perishes, it explains death when one is not in watchfulness, in the state of awareness. That means salvation after death is not positively accepted in Gurbani. It is accepted, it is defined that salvation can be attained only while living, not after death. Maybe the whole world or theories are believing that after death how to attain the salvation, but Gurbani says exclusively, different from the whole world, that salvation can be achieved only while living. Obviously, if one is not attaining salvation while living, it is superfluous to attain the salvation after death. Because if one is not alert while living, he has no benefit to get the salvation after death. And that is why most of the people are being ruined in their present life, and they are thinking that by fulfilling few rituals we can achieve salvation after death. So, while talking about salvation, Gurbani believes in an entirely different kind of salvation, which is very different from common beliefs. Gurbani emphasizes only the present life. The salvation according to Gurbani can be attained only while living. The salvation while living only takes place by having complete control over your subconscious and your thought process, so that evils such as anger, hatred, jealousy, lust, pride, greed cannot conquer you. But rather you use them in an effective way. Once you are able to conquer them, and using them in effective way is the salvation, according to Gurbani. While keeping them in your control is the salvation, the only way to use them effectively and keep them in your control is by having knowledge, which we call knowledge of truth, and that is mentioned in Gurbani, the Sikh doctrine. And this Sikh doctrine is accepted as a universal truth. If we believe that salvation can be attained after death, then obviously we will believe that how to dispose of the dead body. Because Gurbani does not believe salvation after death, it does not propagate that how to dispose of the dead body. People believe if I burn it, put on fire, then I'll go to heaven. If I bury it, then one day something will happen. I'll be embraced by God and I'll be taken to the heaven. Some people think if the dead body is thrown into the water, or some people they believe that if body is put on the platform for the animals, then there will be the salvation. Because Gurbani explains salvation is while living, then obviously after death disposal of dead body does not apply at all, but Gurbani, because stays tuned with laws of nature, at the same time fulfills the laws of science, and it talks about today's age, then it explains that scientifically the best way of dead body disposal is put on fire, burn it. Because even in states or the countries where people bury, if the person who is going to die, he has chronic diseases like AIDS or cancer or something which is communicable, just to keep the environment free from that disease, they purposely order them not to bury but to burn. But Sikh doctrine does not accept that if you are burning the dead body means you are pardoned or you attained the salvation or your sins will be excused. No. This burning has nothing to do with the dead body or the departed person. Many people have this belief that Gurbani accepts hell or heaven or not. Science also does not believe hell or heaven, and at the same time Gurbani does not borrow these ideas from science, but Gurbani matches with the science, and logically Gurbani says there is no hell or heaven. Because if you are doing good, then you have intentions of reward that I should be given heaven after death. And if you are doing something wrong, then you have this kind of guilt feeling that maybe I will be sent to hell. But Gurbani does not propagate hell or heaven in such sense, though Gurbani uses these words hell or heaven, but in different context. What is that? If somebody is not behaving properly, like if somebody is not attaining the stage of humanity, or I should say humanism, then it is a state of hell while living. If somebody is living full of humanity, no discrimination, and not conquered, not maneuvered by evils, that means he is in the state of heaven while living. Because Gurbani is concerned only with the present life, it explains the term hell and heaven in present terms. For example, one guy went to the saint and he asked him, "Can you explain me what is hell or heaven?" He said, "Wait for a moment." When he was waiting, and after a few minutes, he asked, "I'm asking you, what is hell or heaven? Can you explain to me?" He said, "Please wait. Please wait." Kept on asking, but that saint said, "Please wait." After waiting for 1 hour or 2 hours, he got angry. He lost his patience and he said, "I'll kill you if you don't tell me." He was quite angry. When he was angry, his action was so aggressive or so abusive. Immediately that saint said, "Yes, this is hell." The minute he said this is hell, the questioner, he understood, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was not supposed to act like that." And he immediately felt sorry and surrendered and apologized. Saint said, "Yes, this is heaven." This means our actions, our behavior itself is explained hell or heaven in Gurbani, but in present form, in present life. Therefore, it refers to hell and heaven as states of mind while living, rather than places the soul goes after death. So when one conquers his 5 evils, he is in a state of mind called heaven, and when one is dominated by the evils, that person is in a state of hell. So once one is in transcendent stage, he is already one with God, and that is salvation, and that itself is above than hell or heaven. When there is no soul comes and no soul goes, and when there is no hell or heaven, then Sikh doctrine immediately propagates that there is no reincarnation. Since Gurbani does not believe that some physical God sends the soul, so-called souls, into the body, then there is no soul traveling that goes from one form to the next. So Gurbani does not believe in physical reincarnation of life. But just as Gurbani explains hell and heaven in present terms, similarly it explains reincarnation in present terms also. Like we are yelling at that time, we are reincarnated as a dog. If we are under the pressure of lust, then we are reincarnated like elephant. If we are hypnotized by something, then we are reincarnated like deer. If we are greedy, at that time we are reincarnated like fish. But this all is subconscious level, not physical level. So it explains reincarnation in present terms, that is our subconscious level. This again is a very different explanation of reincarnation given by Gurbani. This reincarnation occurs on a daily basis when we lose our senses, as I have already explained, and control of our subconscious mind. Losing control of our subconscious is death. Once anybody loses the control of subconscious, is death as per Sikh doctrine. That is mentioned in Gurbani. And regaining the control of the subconscious is birth again. So this dying and taking birth again at subconscious level is called reincarnation. So this cycle of dying and taking birth on the subconscious level is actual reincarnation explained in Gurbani, the Sikh doctrine. And always staying in control of subconscious is called salvation. Sikh doctrine does not propagate the definition of religion as a particular sect or particular cult or particular group of people, and also worshipping particular god, worshipping particular book, or worshipping particular pilgrimage, or worshipping particular place. Sikh doctrine explains the definition of religion, which is again humanity, or which is again we should say humanism. Today all over the world we have seen 2 world wars, and every day we are the victim of the world wars. The main thing is communal hatred. Different religions are fighting with each other, but what Sikh doctrine explains the definition of religion, way of life. That the way of life of humanity is a religion. Like Gurbani eliminates all mediators, because in religion's definition people believe there is one mediator in physical form. So Gurbani, Sikh doctrine, eliminates all mediators between God and human beings. No mediator is required. You don't require priest or the pandits or any pai or any particular person between God and you. So it rejects avatars, physical gurus, pilgrimages, idol and picture worship, and also ritualistic practices. And any ceremonies to be done because they have nothing to do with the real religion. And the real religion is traveling inside. Because Sikh doctrine is only propagating how to elevate your subconscious, how to elevate yourself, which is called the real personality development. So real religion means nothing outwardly but traveling inside and trying to understand oneself. As per Sikh doctrine, religion is truthful living only. That's why one verse it explains, truth is higher, higher still is the truthful living. Most of the people from different religion, they are very much concerned about their principles of their religion or rituals of their religion, and they keep on fulfilling the religions or their rituals, but they are not concerned about their self-elevation, because they are thinking that we have fulfilled our rituals, but they don't know that truthful living is required to attain that transcendent stage, to be one with God and to be a religious person. Religious person does not mean that he fulfills any particular ritual. He has one mediator. No. Nothing between God and the particular person. So, practical way of life, Sikh doctrine explains that in order to achieve God, one must live practically. There is no need to detach oneself from society and no need to renounce anything. One should marry, one should work honestly and share his earnings with others. So, Sikh doctrine explains that you have to work honestly, sharing itself, sharing your earnings with the needies, working for society, helping to the needies. Sikh doctrine explains equality. There is no discrimination in Sikh doctrine. It propagates that all are son of God. It does not accept discrimination or the caste system, or it does not accept any so-called untouchables or so-called touchables. No, it accepts all black or white, all colors, all races, all human beings are son of God. So it propagates equality. At the same time, Sikh doctrine forcefully says that woman has equal rights in the society. Also at home, in the society, also at the time of when we are talking about religion or the practice of religion in congregational system. So women has all equal rights. In order to live practically to achieve God, one has to embrace equality. Sikh doctrine says it rejects any discrimination based on caste, color, creed and gender. Women have been given equal rights in all aspects of life, society, home and religious activities. The Sikh doctrine promotes service to the world, sharing with the needy, fighting injustice, helping oppressed ones and fighting inner evils. Through these actions, one will learn how to embrace equality in one's daily life. Sikh doctrine does not accept miracles, superstitions and rituals, because many doctrines, they believe superstitious beliefs or blind faiths or only rituals or through miracles, they think that we have achieved God. The Sikh doctrine does not believe in rituals, miracles, and superstitions. As we have discussed, it embraces the laws of nature. And since miracles and superstitions do not correspond to the science, the doctrine does not believe in them. That is why Perlas Buck said that it has no fear of science, because Sikh doctrine does not accept the miracles at all, does not accept any superstitious belief at all, does not favor any rituals at all. Now, we do not want to say that there is only truth mentioned through Sikh doctrine. One has to achieve this height of humanity. And to achieve this height of humanity or state of mind up to that level, one has to understand the unique laws of nature. And if one understands unique law of nature, then he will try to find out knowledge which preaches to elevate while living, to work for present time. Once anybody is concerned about present life, living in now, present, then he will not be given any gimmick that if you do this or this or this, even if you kill somebody, then you will be given the heaven after death. Once anybody understands that, then they will try to live in present. They will not kill anybody. They will not discriminate. They will not use any evil thoughts even. People who are always concerned about hell or heaven after death, they do not fix up their present. And obviously, if present is not fixed up, if today is not fixed up, how tomorrow can be fixed up? So this thought itself is superfluous. If somebody is miserable today or in present life, he can never attain hell or heaven after death. So once science is believing that there is no hell or heaven, or Sikh doctrine is explaining that God is omnipresent through its laws of nature, as we said, the laws of the nature is the will of God, then there is no need to think about after death regarding hell or heaven. Then people won't like to fulfill their rituals at all. They will be concerned to attain humanity. And they will be concerned to understand how God is omnipresent, His omnipotence. People will try to understand and at the same time to live that. If no one understands that God is omnipresent, that's why people keep on doing their rituals or worshipping God by plucking the flowers or something. Gurbani says, you don't require any flowers to worship God. Even in Sikh word, people use the word as arti, but in one verse it is mentioned to do his arti or do his worship, God's worship, you do not require flowers, because all over the universe, wherever there is greenery, this itself is a worship of God, because God is everywhere. And this is obviously called superfluous idea, that if God is already in the flower, then where one has to take this flower for worship. So once we understand this law of nature or omnipresence of God, then we will not pluck the flowers. And at the same time we will help to this universe, because in this universe we are today being burnt or ruined, or skin cancer is coming through this ozone layer, which is getting thinner and thinner every day, because mankind has cut the greenery. And people who believe we are religious, they are fulfilling their rituals by plucking the flowers or greenery. So Gurbani says, you do not require to pluck the flowers, let it blossom there. And once the flower itself is blossoming there, it is spreading the fragrance, and that fragrance itself is God. That blossoming of flower itself is a God. You do not require. Then we will help problem of the pollution. If we try to learn God's omnipresence, that He is everywhere in His creation, then we can take example of rose. If rose is blossoming itself and spreading the fragrance, we can learn from the rose that we have to blossom like rose. We should look happy always. We meet people happily. And at the same time, if we learn from rose that rose has no intention of any reward while spreading the fragrance, it keeps on blossoming and spreading the fragrance. Similarly, we have to do good deeds. We have to live full of humanity, but no rewards. In our instinct that we are thinking that I will be rewarded, once we are thinking that I am not concerned to have any reward, then automatically the question of reward after death, like heaven, is finished. And we are learning from the universe that God is everywhere, God is in greenery, God is in the laws of nature, rain or greenery or clouds or on this earth or in every human being or even in animals and birds. Then we can learn from, and whatsoever they are living, they have no complaints to God. And we can be one with God, we can attain salvation while living, which is humanity. At the same time, once we learn from rose, then we can give our love to everybody unconditional. No intention of rewards or return. Unconditional love means we are saying as is, accepting everything. I love you as is. And I'm not saying that if I love you, then what you will give to me. No, then unconditional love, giving to everybody. Then our embrace is like this. So big, so infinite, that the whole world can come into it, which is universal brotherhood. The Sikh doctrine is written in a postmodern language and is fully equipped to help humanity. And the most exciting thing is, for the benefit of humanity, that Sikh doctrine is first-hand document given by the person who wrote it. Means there is no mix at all. It is in a purest form. And that's why it does not contain any stories. It contains only and only the messages to elevate oneself. Combination of saint and soldier. Since Gurbani propagates fighting against injustice, it supports the idea of living practically as a saint and a soldier in one personality. Authenticity of Gurbani, like we said, universal truth. Gurbani is a first-hand document because it was spoken and written by the same person at the same time. It propagates a way of life according to the laws of nature for the fullest of humanity. Since it is written in a postmodern language, Gurbani serves as the guide for the entire mankind, can be applied to the people of all ages everywhere. Because it is a first-hand document, it does not need support of any history. This is why Gurbani, the Sikh doctrine, is purest doctrine. The individual who follows Gurbani becomes spiritually enlightened as he stays within the orders of nature and hence is closer or one with God. In nutshell, I have explained all the basic fundamentals of Sikh doctrine, and I wish people can have benefit of that, and I wish that there will be no communal hatred, and due to that people can attain the humanism or the state of transcendence or state of equality or state of no fighting with different communal, particularly religions. I mean, once we are living the life of humanity, the state of humanity, then there is no need to fight with any person of different religion. We will face them, we will like them, we will treat them as son of God. Not fight with them as you are from different religion. We will not fight with them due to their outer look. We will not fight with them because of their different belief or their different way of worship. We will accept all human beings. Sometimes people, when they are so rigid through their rituals, they are practicing their individual religion, they are so rigid that they think that the people of their particular group or sect or their religion are human beings, and other than that are animals or insects, and that's why they keep on killing them. That's why they keep on trying to finish them from this earth. That's why they try to demolish their places of worships. Once we will understand that we all are son of God and we all are created by one God, then we will not fight with anybody and we will try to live a life of humanity. This means we have to understand Sikh doctrine, and Sikh doctrine does not mean that Sikh is a religion. Sikh doctrine means, Sikh means disciple, a student who learns until last breath. Once one is learning and learning and learning, means one is trying to elevate every day, and one has no ego that I know everything. Means one is disciple for the truth and one is trying to live God through this truth, which is humanity. So I am trying to explain you the Sikh doctrine as it was questioned, and I wish people can study the Sikh doctrine through Sri Guru Granth Sahib, the holy book of Sikh people, and at the same time Sikhs will try to understand the messages given in it. They will not ritualistically study this, they will not ritualistically or like parrot, they won't keep on repeating, but they will try to understand the hidden messages or the hidden agendas out of that and can embrace the whole world.